Hello, upper cervical doctors and students, and welcome back to the UCM podcast. I am your host, Dr. Bill Davis from UCM Practice Growth Systems. And with me today, so excited to have him back, our Director of Client Success, my brother from another mother, Tony Hook. What's up, Tony?
Going on, man? I'm good. I'm ready for this. I'm looking forward to this one, especially.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is something that, man, we've been working on this for a long time now, and this is something that is just desperately needed in the upper cervical world, right? In the upper cervical industry. And so we're really excited to talk with you about this. And so our topic for today is maxed out and no help, the fix for UC docs who need an associate yesterday, right? This is a huge problem in upper cervical is associates. What do you do if you are maxed out? What do you do when you're at capacity? How can you get somebody into the practice? What is the way to do that it works, that it's not a mess, that it's not a nightmare, that it's not something that you wish you wouldn't have done, right? But that it's a blessing to the practice that helps you to help more people in your community and really see the practice thrive even more. And so what are the big pains or the big issues when it comes to associates, Tony?
Right. Yeah. And I was going to say too, there's a lot of emotions circling around this topic.
Yes.
You've either probably been through something or you know someone who has. It's that close to every single practitioner, right?
Yep.
Whether you're on either side of the equation, a frustrated associate experience on either side or the ownership experience, right? So, maybe that kind of begs the question, well, then maybe things aren't the current method, the common method, maybe it's not working.
Yeah.
Right. So, that first point there is just, why, hey, if let's just post the job on our technique website and, we'll just do that. Right. It doesn't work. If that worked, we'd be fine by now.
Right.
We're not fine. We are not fine.
Right.
It's a continued frustration. I would say, we were talking before we started recording this. This might be the top issue as far as pain point. I mean, yes, of course, it's new patients through the doors. Okay. But as far from a business standpoint, as growth standpoint, I mean, oh gosh, this is a huge sticking point. So just throwing it up on a technique site, not great. How to attract the right UC candidate without wasting your nights and weekends on resumes and Zooms. Why? Because if you're going to set this thing up and you're looking for an associate, it means you're tapping out. Like, you're like, hey, we've got a 3-week waiting list. We've got a 4-week list. We have a 3-month waiting list. And that's why you titled it, hey, we need one yesterday. Well, this is not an ideal situation for you, because now you don't have time to, maintain the postings and the listings and follow-ups and the interview process too, and the shadowing and the talking and all these different things, having the calls, because you're slammed. So there is a need now, really, for what if there was a plug and play system that's built for you, that's working for you, and it's not going to slow your practice down. You can keep taking care of people.
Right.
And, you've got candidates that are viable. That's the plan. That's the game plan. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, because that's what we need. Thing. Yeah, because that's the whole thing, right? It's this idea of, okay, all right, my practice is just rocking and rolling, right? We're seeing lots of people, we're taking care of lots of people, we're at capacity, like you said, we have a waiting list, whatever it is, it's humming. And then you're like, okay, I got to get another doctor in here. So now you sign up to take on another job, right? You say, I'm now going to become a recruiter.
A recruiter. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now I'm a successful upper cervical specialist running a successful practice by day, and by nights and weekends, I'm a recruiter. And what is that a recipe for? It's a recipe for burnout, disaster, just
frustration.
not seeing your family, right? Not being able to interact, not being able to rest, not being able to recover from seeing all the patients that you see during the week, right? It's just, it doesn't work. And that's why we see so many doctors struggle with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, for anybody out there, I always want to do this because this may be the first time you've ever listened to one of our podcasts. And so why should you listen to Tony and I? Why are we, why are we an authority when it comes to this particular topic or upper cervical practice in general? And it's because we've been around, right? Like this isn't, our first day doing this. We've been helping doctors now for over 12 years. We've helped over 300 upper cervical doctors over the years with different products and services and different things that we've done, plus helping them with so much content, all the podcasts and webinars and blogs and tools and books and everything that we've done. We are about growing upper cervical practices, right? Helping doctors grow through the different stages of growth. We've doubled dozens of practices over the years. We've helped doctors build $1 million practices, add additional locations, start practices profitably, add additional team members, improve efficiency, effectiveness, and help them add associates. And so these are the things that we've been doing. And all of this works together too, right? And that's why it's so important too to understand the upper cervical practice holistically and not just get sucked into this one spot of like a vacuum. Like if you were to hire, for instance, just someone who is a recruiter who doesn't have any understanding of upper cervical practices, how they work, what are the systems involved, what the team needs to be like, all these different things, the chances that you're going to get a good result are much lower, right? Than it comes to with us who actually understand the upper cervical practice and the ins and
dynamics.
And that, because there's a lot more to it than just finding a warm body, right? There's a lot more to getting this to work and work well. And so a lot of it comes down to what growth stage you're in, right? We've talked about these, growth stages extensively now. We have a book out now. If you haven't seen the book, The 7 Growth Stages of Upper Cervical Practice, to help you really get a good understanding of each of these stages. But mostly what we're looking at here is a practice growth stage 2 practice or later, right? So you're in that practice growth stage 2 where your practice is usually collecting around $35,000 to $40,000 per month in a solo practice. And you're in that place where you're ready to add your first associate, or you are someone who has moved into those the stages, stage 3, 4, 5, or 6, where you already have associates in the practice and you just need more, right? So those are the two groups. So Tony, what are, why does hiring feel so hard for upper cervical docs? We talked about just the fact that it's, it takes time, but there's more to it than that.
For sure. And so, you've like you mentioned, you've got successful practice. And so now it's like, you can look at this and go, I know I need somebody. Oh, what do I do here? So, like that first point there, you're already adjusting patients, you're managing the business and the team, that you have, you're managing your marketing, you're trying to hire. It's time, hiring takes time you don't have. Absolutely. And so it can be overwhelming. And so, yeah, that is hard. It is hard to do from the sake of time and energy. Right. And sometimes there's uncertainty of how to effectively go about it. Where do we post? What do we offer? What's the, what type of person am I looking for? And how do I go about building an offer that makes sense, that's tied to the growth of the practice and is a right fit for our market, right? How do I make sure I don't hire the wrong person? Back to those negative experiences that, many of you have had, and again, both sides of the coin, where it just wasn't set up right. And here you are 6 months in and you're going, oh man, this is not where we want it to be. And nobody wants that, but yet it keeps happening. So what happens is a lot of docs just go, you know what, never mind. I've even talked to some docs where they've tried it a couple times and they go, you know what, I'm just done. I'm just going to maintain it. I'm just going to float around 30 to 40. Fine. And that's, I get that. I get if that's where you are right now and you're watching this or listening to this, I get where you're coming at it emotionally. But when it comes to growing the mission and succeeding on the mission of upper cervical, we really need to try to do this better then. Let's dial this in. What can we do so it doesn't overload you, doesn't frustrate you, and becomes a win for upper cervical, a win for your business. Otherwise, the growth will stop, obviously, because there's only so much of you to go around, and so there will be you are the limiter. But if this can get dialed in, ooh, baby, we can really jam. And there are practices that do it.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned too that so much of this is really getting clarity on the front end, right? For the doctor, for the practice, for the position, so much of it is getting that clear picture of who you're looking for. And when you get that clear picture, because a lot of times I think when docs don't have that clear picture, it's so much harder to find the right person because they're just, it's too muddy. You don't have clarity on how this is all going to fit together, right? Like, how is this new person coming in here going to fit with my practice and make it work, right?
Yeah.
And so there's two types of docs we're talking to today, right? Number one is the clinic director who already has at least one associate needs another, right? That's the practice growth stage 3, 4, 5, and 6 doctors who they've already got associates in the practice. Maybe they're really in that like associate master stage where they're really good with associates. Like they're really good at adding, at training, onboarding, getting doctors really up to speed and rocking and rolling. But those doctors still need help finding candidates, right? Sure. They still need help finding candidates. And then there's the other group, which is the solo doc who needs to hire an associate for the first time or to do it right this time.
The right way. Yeah.
That's practice growth stage 2 doctors, right? Those docs who, like you said, they're in that 30 to 40 range, and either they've given up, and we want to give you some hope today. We want to say, hey, you know what? There's hope. There's hope that this can work. You can do this and do it well. Or you maybe the first time you've gotten to that level in your practice, you're at that 35, whatever level, you finally you've got the practice there. We want to show you that there's a way forward as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so first, though, I want to talk to the doctors who they already have an associate in the practice, right? They're in practice growth stage 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a multi-doctor practice already, and they need another associate, right? What we want to share with you today is a system that's going to help you to do this much easier than you're doing it now, right? Without the time commitment that you're putting into it, without the most likely even the money commitment that you're putting into it to track down doctors, the time that you're spending, the conferences you're going to, like you're beating the bushes, so to speak. You're going to the schools, you're not involved in all these things. There is a better way. There is a easier way, and we want to tell you about it today. So that's for those doctors. We're going to talk about this later with you, is how can we make this easier for you to add more associates into your already effective system, right? That's the first group. The second group is, Tony.
Yeah, so that's the solo doc. You're flying on by yourself right now, and you need somebody. You're not able to take those vacations. You're not able to, even a sick day backs things up, let alone 2 in a row if you get knocked, with something severe or whatever, or health issue or whatever those things are. You're vulnerable, and you need somebody, and you're frustrated. Maybe you've tried it before and you're just, oh man, it's been a pain, and you're considering just not even trying trying it again. If you made it this far in the podcast, you're open to it, so thank you. There is a good way to do it. There is a right way to do it. And or this is your first time, and you're like, hey, well, okay, I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
So, it'd be great to have a game plan that works for you. And so we want to help both of these groups.
Yeah. And it's a big issue, especially with the solo practices, right? I mean, we've seen this. We do surveys. We've done, I think, 10 years of surveys now, right? Every year it's been the vast majority of upper cervical practices are solo practices, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on our most recent survey, 40% were in practice growth stage 2. So that means 40% are solo doctors of all the upper cervical practices out there, most likely are solo practices that are collecting more than $20,000 per month that are either ready to hire an associate now or they are moving in that direction of getting ready, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big group, 40%, huge. Right? So, yeah. I mean, if we could help that 40% move forward and get that first associate in the practice, or get that first time associate that works in the practice, it's huge. Yeah. And so, Tony, what are 5 common reasons docs stay solo even when they're ready to grow?
There's a number of them. Number 1 is the fear of hiring and managing other doctors, right? It's well, like it says there, it's a different skill set. And you may and it's I don't want to do that. You might feel, or you're not sure where to start, like, what do I look for? How do I do this when it's just you? It's like, what you know. How did you learn it? Maybe you're an experiential learner and you just learned along the way. And so, like, being able to pour that into somebody else, that's a whole nother game, man. Another part of that fear could be that you're what if I ever hire the wrong doc? And you've heard the bad story of where things just, it was awful, and the social left, and it was just this big drama thing, and you want to avoid that. Or maybe you're worried about the just kind of quality control, and so you just decide, it's just easier just to, like I mentioned earlier, it's easier just to do nothing, and so I get that. But really, if you just put all that stuff off to the side for a second, all the fear, anxiety, worry, and all that stuff, well, is every doc that way? Or are there people that can be an amazing fit, and they're going to bring stability to the practice? We're going to be able to help more people, and actually becoming an asset, connecting with new people, even just because of personalities, possibly, right? And really an additional revenue stream, and being able to take some workload off you. And now all of a sudden you take that family vacation, and wow, things kept going. It wasn't this big hit, and so entertain for a moment that there is a way to do this right, and it can be an absolute win. And that there's offices like that, and it's not a big mystery of why it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the second reason why docs stay solo is really misinformation and bad experiences, right? You've heard horror stories of bad associate hires and assumed it doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. And maybe you've had an experience like we've said, or you've just heard it from others. But regardless, the reality is that bad hiring and poor onboarding frequently leads to problems, not the multi-doctor model itself, right?
Right.
It's just like when patients say, I've tried chiropractic, right? I've tried chiropractic. It doesn't work. Doc, we know that is not the reality of a situation. That means they tried a chiropractor who didn't work well for them and their specific goals. It's the same situation here. The multi-doctor model does work. It works, and it works well. And in fact, it works way better than the solo practice model. And that's been proven over and over and over. So don't give into this misinformation and bad experiences, these things, just like we don't want patients to give into misinformation and bad experiences when it relates to chiropractic, and instead take a different look at upper cervical practice. And in the same way, we want you to take a different look at the multi-doctor model itself as well.
Yep.
What
Yep.
about the third
Number
reason?
3? Yeah. Just wanting to avoid conflict, not wanting to have the extra responsibility, because it is a shift. There is some shift that has to, because you have to lead differently.
Yep.
Right? You're going to have to set those expectations. You're going to have to manage performance and give guidance. You might have to have some difficult conversations. It's easy when it's just you, right? But you might have to have those, more coaching that you kind of give, more mentoring, right? You might want to be avoiding the leadership challenges, because it is simpler to work alone in that sense.
Yep.
In that sense, I would say on the more broader look at it, it's actually harder to be solo when you weigh everything together. But from
Yes.
a leadership standpoint, you have to be more involved in people. You're going to have to be more hands-on, and and as that third point there says, these leadership skills can be learned. They
Yes.
absolutely can be learned, and and if you have a system that's in play, knowing what to ask and when to ask these things, and a structure that's set up, now it becomes much more manageable, and you can even plan for the growth of the individuals, the growth for you too, and also for the practice.
And Tony, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about how many times have we been able to coach doctors when it comes to leadership skills and helping them to develop those skills to more effectively lead either their CAs or their associates. Like, talk about that a bit.
Well, it's a matter of sitting down and looking at who's on the team, who's missing from the team, meaning like what areas for the business growth are missing, and then how to keep people accountable. So team meetings is a big part, one-on-one meetings, um, defining their roles, and so that they understand very clearly what their position entails. Like, the person in this seat on the bus, they need to be doing these things. These are the prioritization list. And so, defining that very clearly and holding them accountable, having intentionality about specific times that you meet to go over these things, and and working on communication styles too. And
Yeah.
even when actually, being able to, when something comes up and it's like, oh man, there's a little bit of drama, having somebody in your corner, and I've worked with docs, it's like, hey, well, let's talk this out. Like, what's going on, and almost kind of almost like counseling,
Yeah.
working through how do we find middle ground, and sure, there's stress in it, but the end result can be a wonderful growing opportunity for both individuals, the associate and the owner, and also then, when that is working, then the practice always grows too. So,
Yeah.
it's like, back to the point there. The last one is, leadership skills are learned, and
That's right.
that's, they can absolutely, yeah.
And the key thing is that you need a guide, right? You need a guide to help you learn leadership skills, right? So frequently docs that are solo, they have a mentality that's solo, right? It's a solo practice mentality, and to develop a new mindset and develop a new skill set, a new understanding of how to interact with people, because talking with someone who's been through chiropractic school, who has a different level of experience, who has a different level of understanding, and it's different than leading someone who is a chiropractic assistant in your practice. It just is, right? So you've got to be able to understand how to talk to people differently, how to interact with them differently, how to hold them accountable differently, how to have those clear expectations. But all of those are learned skills, and they're things that we've been able to help
Sure.
doctors with and see great success with when they learn these skills. And so again, hope is available to you. And so the other one here is really just misunderstanding life balance, right? You might be thinking, if I just work harder now, I'll eventually have the freedom I want, right? So we think it's like this idea of, oh, well, if I just stay solo, and I just, I'll just keep focused on my systems and my CAs, and I'm gonna work and work and work and work. And what eventually happens is you just burn out. You run out of steam at some point. You can't be the one guy. This is why we call it a treadmill practice, right? You can't just always be the one who is seeing all the patients and see all the people who want to see that, to be in that practice. It just won't, it's not sustainable. And so life balance is more than just, you know what, well, I get to play golf once a week, or I get to do this or that. I get to see my family sometimes. No, it's more than that. It's also having balance within the practice itself, so that patients can come in and enjoy the experience there, and they don't always feel like the doctor is so limited that they feel like they got to get out of the practice because there's so many people always in this practice,
Right.
that it's overwhelming even to them, right?
Sure.
And so a multi-doctor model provides more personal time, more flexibility, and more financial security for you, for the practice, and ultimately it's good for the patients.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, fear, why stay solo? Like why so many doctors are staying solo. The fear of the patient resistance. So it's like, oh boy, if I bring somebody on, they're just going to want me anyway. It's the A team and the B team. That's how they're going to see it.
Right.
And there is a way to do this. Absolutely. We've helped so many practices elevate all the doctors in the practice, and so that patients see them as the experts. They see this is the office that provides excellent care no matter whom I see. The second point there, that's what it's talking about, is that experience. Actually, it becomes a win, because now let's say somebody, I don't know, they went to the amusement park and they went out. They're like, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. Something happened. Well, we can't get you in because we don't have, they're booked up, we're actually overbooked. And, talk to your CA. They probably are like always pulling their hair out going, I have no place to put people. But if you've got another doctor on the team, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, we can find a way to fit them in. Right. So greater availability, helping out with wait times. That's another thing to think about. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, practice is going great. I remember being at a practice and the wait time was actually, and I knew I needed to be there, and I'm bringing my family, but it was really frustrating to be waiting, and you're looking at your appointment, you show up and your appointment 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And it's like, should I just schedule my appointment and just start showing up late? That's the thought I had as a patient. But now if you've got another doctor there that it should help with that, those wait times. And so because and really a waiting list is not a good thing. We've said this on many times, many, many different podcasts. Oh, I've got a waiting list. Oh no, I'm sorry. What do you mean? It's great for you. It's a great thing to have. Well, not if you're a patient, not if you're a new person that goes, hey, I want to come in. Not if you're a person's spouse who has to wait, he's got migraines and, it's finally ready to come in, but it's going to be 2 months or a month, even 2 weeks. They might go somewhere else. And waiting list is not a good thing, ultimately. The key is really, to kind of eliminate this question, this fear of patient resistance, you just have to train them. You just train the patients. They're going to follow right along, and you just go, this is the doctor. They go, doctor. Oh, okay. Well, they'd have the education. Almost always that's the case anyway. And you elevate the practice. They're trusting the practice and the care, not just an individual doctor. And there's a lot of good ways to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the big take home points about all this. If you're in this place, you're in solo practice, you're just not sure, a multi-doctor practice wins in the long run. That's the reality of the situation, Doc. While staying in solo practice can feel safer and more comfortable, it comes at a huge cost. No scalability, no ability to step away, to vacations and all these other things, higher burnout risk, limited revenue growth, difficult or impossible to sell later. We didn't even get into that yet, but that's another big factor.
Yeah.
Solo practices don't sell well because why would you buy it? You could do it yourself in that circumstance. A multi-doctor practice is a system that somebody else can step into that works.
They're vulnerable too. That's another one.
Huge vulnerability. Another big one. I mean, obviously, you're talking to somebody who broke their neck mountain biking in a solo practice and lost his practice 3 months later. And so it happens. You don't know what's going to happen in life. Life is uncertain. You don't know when injuries and illness are going to come for you or your family. And so vulnerability is another big factor. A multi-doctor practice allows for higher earnings with less personal workload. That's a good thing, a really good thing. More freedom and flexibility, scalability, financial security. It's a real business that operates beyond the owner. And that's what we need to have more of within upper cervical.
Right.
So, Tony, what if, how do you know for sure that you're ready?
Right. So if only there was like a good test that we could take or a checklist. Oh, wait, look. Hey, there is one. Now, if you're in practice growth stages 3 through 6, you're like, hey, I know I'm ready.
Yeah.
I've been here, done that. You're ready. Okay. Well, the other aspect is how do I know when I'm ready to hire the third or the fourth, right?
Yes.
But if you're especially if you're a solo doc, you've never even done this before, or if you've done it and it went sideways on you, then how do I know I'm ready? Am I financially ready? Is my team ready? Or do I have the right systems? There is a checklist that's available for you. I know a great company that's put this together. And really just going through the checklist, because there are certain things on the front end. We've alluded to this. We've mentioned this already. But these boxes need to be checked to set the stage for success. You don't have a patient just show up and you start adjusting them. You're going to talk with them, and there's a lot of things that happen along the way. And so get this checklist, work through it, download it, take it step by step. Yes, these are all recommended things. Okay. If they're not, and you're going to find some holes, most likely fill the cracks, get that solid foundation so that it's the best chance to build something. A building's only as strong as its foundation. This is going to basically a foundation check to make sure everything is in place so that you have some wins coming your way. And so it's a great checklist to get. Check that out.
So go to ucmgrow.com, click on resources, and then practice growth tools, and you'll see it there with a bunch of other great tools. But you'll find it. It's the Practice Scaling Readiness Checklist. Okay, Practice Scaling Readiness Checklist. Go over to ucmgrow.com. You can go right now, click on resources, click on practice growth tools, find this tool, download it. It's a free tool, and it's going to give you really nice clarity when it comes to these key things.
Yeah. Now, what if you know you're ready though? See, like what if a person's already like, hey, I'm good, or they took the checklist and they went, yeah, okay, so what?
That's it. We've developed a done-for-you associate recruitment program. This is exciting, man. I'm so excited about this program. I can't believe we finally have this in place, and we're ready to help doctors to fix this major issue. Find the right doctor without the headache. That's the goal, right? Find the right doctor without the headache. A done-for-you associate recruitment program. And so what is it? It's a done-for-you hiring system built for UC practices by us, by Tony and I, by our UCM team, people who understand upper cervical practice growth, so you can stay focused on your patients while we handle the rest.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a streamlined hiring funnel. It's expert level candidate filtering. It's strategic onboarding support. It's built by UC doctors, myself, and learning from all of our clients over the past 12 years for you, for upper cervical doctors. And so there's three main steps to our associate recruitment program. The first step is all focused around foundation and visibility, right? Getting clear on who you need, what your practice is, where your practice weaknesses are that may need to be fixed, and getting that really dialed in, right? This is the practice readiness checklist we talked about. This is role clarity with KRAs and KPIs and job descriptions. This is getting all the pieces in place so that we're ready to start to vet candidates, right? So getting the hiring funnel done with a great doctor video, getting you a nice dashboard so you can see all your live candidates coming through, getting all the postings done for you. There's so many places to post in an associate position online. And then really also using our network, which is huge and is unique, is we are already connected to almost every upper cervical doctor on the planet. And so the fact that we can get you in front of them is huge. We have you on our podcast. We email blast out to our list. We get you on our social media. We also post on all of the groups out there, the upper cervical groups. So you get your visibility is everywhere. That's what this first stage is all about. And then the second part of it is helping you with the interviewing and offer support, right? Really getting clear on what are you going to offer these candidates? How do you interview them effectively? What kind of questions?
What's the process?
Yeah, what's the process? And we will even be on the interviews with you. We will interview with you. We'll be on the Zooms with you, so we can help you with this process. We can help you with test tasks. We can help you with how to interact with them when they visit the practice, the compensation guidance, the benefits, all this kind of stuff to really get a nice, clear picture of how do you do this and do this well when it comes to the interviewing and the offering of candidates. And then the third part of it is, okay, now you got somebody. How do you get them going, right? How do you get them so that they're rocking and rolling in the practice, and the practice is able to really increase its capacity? We help you with the onboarding as well. That's also included. Onboarding, a 90-day training plan we help develop with you to get you dialed in, get that new associate dialed in so that they're rocking and rolling. And if you even want more support after that, we have optional role integration coaching where you can continue with us beyond the associate recruitment program. Mm-hmm. And so this is why we're the best partner for you, right? 12 years of doing this. We only work with upper cervical practices. This business was founded by me, an upper cervical doctor, and we've got proven done for you systems that we've done over and over and over. And so now we've added this new system to help doctors with a huge issue, and that is this done for you associate recruitment. So what do you do next? You just go to ucmgrow.com. You click on Start Growing. You schedule an initial appointment with us where we can talk through your practice. We'll have you fill out the checklist. We'll go through that with you, and we'll get you going in the right direction.
Get a game plan.
You need, right? It's about getting that associate. And I'll tell you, we can only do so many of these at once, right? These are a lot of work. They're a lot of work for our team. There are a lot of different aspects to this. And so we're only taking 4 more doctors this year. And so if you want to be one of our doctors that we're placing associates for this year, get on this, right? Don't put it off. Go to the website, ucmgrow.com, click on Start Growing, schedule the appointment. We'll talk you through it. We'll tell you about the cost. We'll tell you about the timeline. We'll tell you about everything you need to know. We've got to talk to you about your practice first. We got to understand what's going on with the practice. We got to understand if you're ready. If you're not ready, we're going to tell you that. We're going to say, no, don't do this. You're not ready yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Not yet. Exactly.
And here's the things to focus on.
Exactly. So that's what we want to do with you. We want to really get a good understanding of where you are and if this is the best next step for you on that initial call. And so if you're ready to bring on that right doc, let's talk. Let's help you find an associate who fits your vision, your culture, your mission, so you can grow with confidence. Go to ucmgrow.com, click on Start Growing, schedule that appointment right now. If you haven't done it already, do it now. This is your chance. This is your time to do this and do it well. This could be your year to bring on that associate who's really going to make your practice go to a whole different level.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. This is what it's all about, docs. This is the program that Upper Cervical has been waiting for. And I'm very excited to offer this to you now. And as we always say around here, go team Upper Cervical.